Hi, everybody. Hi. Has everybody having a good con so far? Yes. Right? It's awesome. So, welcome to Breaking Your First 100, How to Keep a YouTube Audience. I really hope I remembered that title word for word. I know in my heart that I didn't, but I'm going to pretend that I did. Anyway, so, as the title suggests, in this panel, we're all YouTubers, we're all content creators here, we all have an online audience, and we are going to be telling y'all about all our tips and tricks about how to build and maintain an audience. So first things first, why don't we go around, let's briefly introduce yourself, your name, what you do, and what kind of content you make online. We'll start all the way up there.
Hi, my name is Tiffany. I'm the owner of Tiffany Cosplay LLC, which is a company that focuses on costume and prop fabrication as well as education. And my YouTube channel focuses mostly on tutorials for making a hat, a staff, and doing lots of shorts and videos on there.
My name is James Farr, and I've been doing independent animation direction since 1999. I used to be on Newgrounds back when that was the thing, before YouTube even existed. And nowadays on YouTube, when I'm not working on shows for other people, I'm doing either my own shows, which I personally write, direct, and animate on my channel, and in order to get more eyeballs on those original shows, I do mashup parody animations.
I'm Brent Amberger. I run Goobertown Hobbies, and that is a channel for mini painting. So Warhammer, MechWarrior, D&D, all the other small companies that I can find time for. I paint minis, and so it's a lot of shots over my shoulder of my hands, painting something very small, and every once in a while cut to a picture of my face. So a lot of tutorials and also kind of infotainment in that world.
Hi, I'm Erika Harlacher. My YouTube channel is With K Games. I'm a voice actor in video games and anime and stuff like that, and mostly my channel is me playing games, sometimes that I'm in and sometimes that I just like. Sometimes I do vlogs with like the casts of games and anime and stuff. And, yeah.
And I'm Redbard. I'm the moderator of this panel. My channel is at Redbard is Cool. I talk about anime fan culture, convention history, all sorts of niche, but I think it's cool stuff like that. So, y'all, I'm going to start by asking you a question that really ties into the name of this panel. How long did it take you to get your first, 100,000, however many subscribers? And would you or would you not say that it was the hardest, 100 or 1,000 or so to get in your YouTube career?
It took me, I think, about 4 months and 9 videos to get my first 100 subscribers. And I can remember very clearly when I got my 21st subscriber, and that was a very good weekend for me. I checked my phone, and Goobertown Hobbies went from 20 subscribers to 21. Oh my! And I still had email notifications at the time, and I could go and I could see what the avatar was of the person who subscribed. And seems like a pretty cool guy right there. So in the beginning, absolutely every view, every subscriber, and absolutely every comment is gold, and it really means a lot. And it is oftentimes a lot of work to get there, to start to build a population of people who want to see what you're doing.
True story. I sort of have the opposite problem, at least initially. Sorry.
It's okay.
I had the opposite problem, which is that I sort of accidentally, without paying attention to my YouTube channel, got about 50,000 subscribers over the course of a couple of weeks. And the challenge after that was trying to figure out what types of content I could continue creating that would continue that growth, and not pigeonhole me into making the same type of video over and over and over again. So every once in a while you make something that a lot of people want to see, but kind of keeping the train going can be just as big of a challenge.
I don't really remember getting to 100. I kind of just had a YouTube channel just in the background, and people were constantly asking me, how did I make my Ariel costume, which is from Diablo, large blue wings, it went viral overnight. And I was like, oh, I'm terrible at writing, so I'll just start making little slideshows of how I made this. And so that's how I started the channel, but then I only really remember hitting 1,000 because I wanted, at the time, to be able to make money off of YouTube. And this was, I think, like 2 years ago for that standard. It's changed now for how to get partnered through. I messaged my sister who was in high school. I'm like, I'm so close to hitting 1,000. Can you ask your friends? And she went all day asking all of her friends in high school like to subscribe, and we did it, and it was funny. But yeah.
So I kind of cheated because I was already an established voice actor. So I don't know that my answer will be very helpful to anybody because I already was in things, and then people were like, play the games, and then I did. So I feel like my answer is not. You guys worked a lot harder. Yeah. I mean, I have always really enjoyed watching YouTube. I mean, you know, it's great. And I particularly really liked watching Let's Plays, like Game Grumps, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of on and off would make videos. I like started on Twitch, but then like going live is stressful. So recently I've started doing the like pre-recorded gaming videos, and I really like doing those a lot. So I think that's going to be my like moving forward. The general feel of my channel will be more game grumpy than just live streams. People really like when I make vlogs with other actors. That's when I get a lot of views, which that means I have to be social with people. So I don't know, but yeah, I've been very lucky. It just I have really nice people that follow me on, you know, other social medias, and they're all really excited to come over and watch my YouTube stuff. So I have like a team for my YouTube. Like I have an editor and a thumbnail person and a QC person. So I don't really keep track of it that much. But yeah.
As for me, I don't remember how long it took me to get my first 100, but my first 1,000 was well over, if it wasn't like a year, it was like almost a year. It was not a quick process. And that is why I wanted to start this panel out with this question, because I wanted to share something that it's not a universal experience by any means, but it is still a very good piece of advice, is that building your audience is not instantaneous. It takes time, it does take patience, and maintaining that audience can be equally as much of a challenge. But that first 100,000, 10,000 is one of the biggest hurdles you will face, if not the biggest. But you know, that's not a universal experience, but it is still a good piece of advice. Just to remember that it does require patience, you know. And that brings me to my next question. So, how did y'all build your audiences? What did you do?
I may have mentioned I started animating when I was 19 on Newgrounds. I don't know if anybody remembers what that is, but before YouTube existed, it was sort of like the place that amateur animators would upload their work, and you could do whatever you wanted, and a lot of weird, wonderful web animations kind of sprouted out of Newgrounds. If anybody remembers Salad Fingers and Homestar Runner and sort of that late 90s crop of Flash animation, I was amongst those Newgrounds animators, and sort of made the move directly into pitching to studios. So I sold like my first cartoon when I was 21, and I was sort of taking the studio route and wasn't paying any attention to YouTube whatsoever. There was a time when like people didn't know what that word was, and so I heard people saying it to me, but I had no idea. The way that I got started specifically on YouTube, since I already knew how to animate, that was just sort of the thing that I did. I realized pretty quickly I'm not particularly pretty or handsome, and so I didn't feel like making face videos. But since I could create any cartoon I wanted to, that's what I did. So I do primarily animated content. And the accidental way that began was my little 2-year-old son was turning 3. His favorite thing in the world at that moment in time was Thomas the Tank Engine. Meanwhile, I was working on Transformers at Hasbro. And so I was just kind of swimming in that soup. And then when I would come home, I was swimming in Thomas the Tank Engine soup. Excuse me. And so I just sort of put those two things together, and I said, you know what, why has nobody done Transformers? And combined all the best things about Transformers with Thomas the Train. What if it was Optimus Prime? Somebody should make that. And so I just did, but I made it as a birthday present for my son. And my wife did a voice, and I did a voice, and he did a voice, and I just put it all together in the course of like a week. Just for him, not for an audience. But I uploaded it to YouTube just so that he would have a place to go watch it, whether I was traveling out of town or he was out of town. He would always be able to hear his mom and dad and him in his favorite show. And so I uploaded that to YouTube and completely forgot about it. And then about a month later, I started getting emails from YouTube saying, do you want to turn monetization on your channel? And I was like, no. And I deleted like the first, I didn't even know what that meant. So I deleted emails from YouTube for like a month. And when I finally went and looked at it, it had like 100, 200,000 views. And I said, oh, other people are interested in this thing. And it wound up getting 64 million views, just that one video. So that was a complete fluke. I was already doing animation over here, but I didn't know that YouTube was a viable space for that. And so we wound up making, 6 or 7 of those. And that was really the thing that kind of exploded my audience out. That seems like that's all they want sometimes, is Thomas the Train. But I also was very lucky to have a couple of friends who do gaming videos. One of them is Jacksepticeye, and the other one is Zach Scott Games, who's actually here in Oklahoma City. And so I was very lucky to be able to do some animations for them. Super awesome guys. That really helped. I've been talking for too long, but that's sort of how that happened.
You said a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah.
I was very enthralled the whole
I
time.
forgot what the question was.
When you said, I don't know if any of you remember Newgrounds, and in my head I was like, I remember Newgrounds, and I felt myself turn to dust.
Yeah, it makes me feel kind of old.
Well, your statement there of, has anyone done this yet? Why has nobody done this yet? Somebody should do that. That is actually like a really core foundational statement of looking for niches that could use some filling and being able to identify that and then see if that lines up with your strengths and what you want to put your energy into. That is a very good way to start building an audience.
And it allows you to bring in multiple fan bases, right? So, all the millions of people that love Thomas the Train and all the millions of people that love Transformers, put those together and you've broadened your audience a great deal. So now most of the stuff that I do that anybody ever sees is a mashup of something popular over here and something popular over here, and why has nobody thought to put this peanut butter and jelly together?
Sure.
I guess
Whoever. Just throw it at whoever.
I would like my channel to be like mostly tutorials, but my audience likes shorts. And the videos that mostly went viral on my channel were before shorts, and they were the same exact thing as a short, where they were a 1-minute video, and they were me getting into my costumes. Like because I make all of my costumes all myself, and a lot of people ask well, how do you put on your wings that you're wearing? Do you have a harness on? What are all the steps? And so I started doing that just to answer those questions, and those seem to be the largest view videos on my channel. So shorts now is the way to go, and you can sign up for them now.
That's a good point too. Like if you start putting out a little bit of variety of content, the viewers and the algorithm will tell you where the need or the desire is, and in some ways that can, if you are willing to go along with those suggestions, that can help you to build more and more popular content.
Basically any channel, or anything you put on any social media, put it on every single one, because one channel it may blow up on, where the other ones it might not. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, just put it on all of them.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, my audience definitely would love if I just did vlogs with fellow castmates. There's like, even though my YouTube channel, it's like my YouTube channel, I do have to work around red tape with the content that I do, because I am an employee for a lot of these games, or like a contracted employee, and companies, I can't say bad things about companies that I might work with, or I need to kind of put out a very like positive environment just in general. And then even with cast stuff, sometimes companies are like, they're like, well, is this video like sanctioned? Like, are you guys all portraying our game in like a good way? If like you label it as like the cast of this game does this, are you like, you're being cool about everything? So if I had the freedom, I would just hang out with people all the time and film us, and we would go cool places and we'd do lots of cool things, and we'd be like, hey, we're in this game, hey, we're in this show. But it's so complicated. There's like so many different things. So I do as much as I can, and I'm at conventions a lot. I don't have a lot of energy to put together like parties all the time. So that's why I've been leaning more into the gaming stuff, and people really want me to like stream. They really like when I'm live. And like I mentioned, being live is like so much more stressful than pre-recording.
You have to put on makeup.
Yeah, it's like if I get into a certain part of the game, I feel like I can't stop. And then I've been live for like 4 hours. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna pass out. And so I don't want to say I ignore what my audience wants, but maybe I give them what they don't know that they want. And they'll realize as time goes on that this is the way.
They'll want it eventually.
Exactly. They'll see things my way eventually. Yeah.
What?
So in terms of what does the audience want versus what do you want to do, I think it's a good thing to do a little bit of both.
Yes.
So I have a very short series of videos where I take a space marine, I turn it into a fishing lure, and I go fishing.
Oh, that's cool.
And they have been very low performing videos, but I'm going to keep doing it because it's a good idea and it's fun.
Yeah.
And I bought those GoPros and I'm going to use them for something. No, I think starting from zero, so I think Tiffany and I are the best example of on YouTube starting from zero and trying to build up. And I think you have to take stock of what are your strengths, what are your ideas for videos, which of those ideas are likely to do well, and then to try to put those together as well as you can. So I mentioned that one of the things I did is I looked at what was available for mini painting YouTube at the time, and I started 4 or 5 years ago, and at the time there was definitely room for new voices there. In the meantime, a lot of folks have joined that niche, which is awesome, but it is harder for them to think of original ideas. But anyway, at the time I was like, there are a couple of videos I really want to make. The very first video I made was I wanted to take a badly painted miniature and show people how to take the paint off of it so that they could start over. And so it was like a scientific test. I had alcohol and acetone and cleaning solutions. And so it was like a full-on scientific test, and I didn't know how to use my camera at all, and everything was like the white balance was terrible, and the video was twice as long as it should have been. And I got a total of like 10 people to view it at first. But it was a good idea, and eventually the algorithm did catch on like a year later, and now it's got, 100, 2,000, 100,000 views, 200,000 views, like it has a lot of views now. But speaking specifically about the road to 100 subscribers, I remember specifically I put out 9 videos. It took me 9 videos to get to 100 subscribers, and each of those times I was learning something new. And like I said, I learned about the button on my camera that allowed me to change how bright or dark everything was. It was huge. It was huge. Something else I learned in that time was how to use a microphone. I haven't figured this one out yet, but if you are thinking about starting YouTube, I'm not paid, but like the Yeti Blue is actually a pretty good place. USB plug-and-play microphone. Get yourself a free Audacity download. Learn how to do noise suppression, and that'll take you most of the way.
I still use my free Audacity download for professional voice acting projects.
There you go.
Like,
There you go.
If she says it's okay, it's
There you
okay.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. And I was finishing the story right now, but I remember the day that I had 100 subscribers was the day that I launched my 10th video. And my 10th video was the first time that I had a good microphone. It was also the first time that I put like a quiet, soothing audio track in the background. And it was one of the best ideas and hardest work I've done on a video. I wanted to do a batch painting. I painted 100 goblins, like in a batch painting setting. It took me 60 hours, but I had 100 goblins all painted. That was the video. But I had made a couple improvements. I had learned from the first 9 videos, and that was my first viral video. And I launched it on a Monday, and an established YouTuber, you launch a video, and the launch day is the biggest day for that video, and then it trails off after that. And then normally after a week, it's at whatever, 50 views a day, whatever it is. But that was the first and only time I've had a video that launched on Monday, got some views, got more views on Tuesday, more on Wednesday, more on Thursday, and Friday was the most views. And so within a week, I went from 100 to 2,000 subscribers. And the point of this long-winded story is that if you put the effort in to learn the technical skills to make a video, you have a good idea, you put the effort in on that video, you take a shot at getting something that gets favored by the algorithm. You take a shot at getting a viral video, and oftentimes that flops and your fishing with space marines goes nowhere, but sometimes the how to batch paint 100 goblins launches the entire channel.
So, what is y'all's #1 piece of advice to YouTubers who are just starting out?
So, okay. I think one of the most important things if you want to be a YouTuber, and this is not if you're doing content that is silent, but any other content, learn to speak clearly and to have, there are some channels that they have content and I'm like, I really want to watch it. But then when I turn it on, it's just like, they're mumbling everything the whole time and I can't understand what they're talking about, and I'm like, so I feel like practice speaking, and it's like just, I don't know, being an entertaining presence, I guess, and being comfortable in yourself and in front of the camera, or with your voice on camera if you're like not showing yourself on camera. The drink, but yeah, I think that's really important. I think it is important to invest in some equipment that is like, I also started with the Blue Yeti, and you just want to be able to be heard clearly. You don't want people to click on and then be like, static, and leave before they even get to watch your awesome content that you've created. So yeah, I think.
I was just going to say, building on that point, that at least for me personally, it's very hard anytime, like live streaming stresses me out as well. So I'm much more comfortable making long form videos in a cave and then releasing them later. But when I do face cam type stuff, you do want to speak very clearly, but it's also kind of like a needle you have to thread, because for me it's very hard to not come off as too performative, and you want to be very genuine. You don't want to stop sounding like a real, relatable person, because ultimately the people who are watching your videos, they are the people that want to spend time with you. So it helps to be friendly and like someone that a viewer might want to come revisit and listen to. I can't explain Jacksepticeye and YouTubers that are super loud and abrasive sounding. I can't speak to that, but speak very clearly, but be genuine.
Yeah, that's a good distinction. Genuine is like really important.
I'd say with live streaming, if you are a very small channel, YouTube will not promote you whatsoever. You will not have anybody come unless you are putting it on other platforms. I'd say for starting off, at least in my personal opinion, for live streaming, do it on Twitch first, save your VOD, put it on YouTube, so you can start building up that audience, and then you can stream on YouTube. I don't think you can stream on both right now, because they're getting in trouble again. It's a whole nightmare. But that was kind of how I did. I first started streaming on Twitch, doing live streams. I did mostly crafting streams where I would build this whole stuff on stream, and my audience could come, ask questions, how am I making this? They could see the whole process, and I would basically tell them how I'm doing it, and you could watch instead of the 8-minute tutorial, you could watch the 8-hour video of me making it instead. But you had more of that live interaction. But I'd say doing it on Twitch first, because Twitch will promote and bring in other people, and then go over to YouTube for live streaming if you are just starting off, from my experience.
All right, so my contribution here is just start. So making a YouTube video requires really a lot of skills, and this isn't to brag, like I'm going to say you need a lot of skills at like a passing level. So, ability to use a camera, a microphone, audio editing, video editing. You need to have something to say, you need to have some presentation skills, you need to have an idea for a video, you need to be able to make a good thumbnail, a good title. There are a lot of skills that go into being a successful YouTuber, and you need to get all of them up to like a B- at least, and then have a couple that you actually get an A at. And so my advice is to start. Make a video, put it up. Nobody is going to watch your first video, with some exceptions. But if you are starting from no audience, then nobody is going to watch your first video until some people start to like your 5th or your 15th or your 50th video, whatever the case may be. So it's such a learning curve on all of those aspects. And you don't even know how much you need to learn. Like I was telling you, it took me 10 videos to figure out how to adjust the brightness of what my camera was recording. It took me that long to realize, how to use a microphone. Also, when I started getting a little bit of feedback from the audience, people were telling me that what they liked about my channel was that it was calming, because of the calming music and because it was just somebody painting a miniature. Which makes sense, but I didn't know that at the time, so I needed to make the content, put it out in the world, and at first you're alone learning things, but eventually you'll get some feedback from the audience and they'll tell you some things. And then one last point is that everything is content. Take advantage of unique opportunities. I just handed my camera to a young man in the audience to film this. I'm gonna go get that photo right now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
My camera's been out here full time.
Yeah, it's been right there on that chair.
Wow.
I generally have 3 pieces of advice that I offer to new YouTubers especially, but some of this stuff is pretty universal, whether you want to be a YouTuber, a Twitch streamer, or a TikToker. That's what the kids are doing these days, right? My number 1 piece of advice that I tell people invest in a good microphone. You know, everybody's been saying like the Blue Yeti is a good one. I think we all started out. Who knows? I had a Blue Snowball.
I heard they're discontinuing that now, and I got very upset.
I don't know if they're discontinuing them. That's
It's like a death. It's horrible. What are we going to tell people to start on?
It feels like the end of an era.
I know.
Like, what?
very
Yeah, what are we supposed to readily recommend people now? Just go right to the Ars Technica.
Yeah.
Go. But no, for real, generally speaking, I find, and I think this is something we've all kind of touched on in this panel, is that more often than not, people are more willing to be forgiving of visuals that don't quite, like visuals that are kind of weird or funky, or camera quality that's not so great, as much as they are bad audio. If your mic is staticky, if you're far away, if you are in a tin shack recording your audio, please don't do that. If your audio is not good, you could have the most interesting video in the world, and so many people will instantly be like, I don't like it. I can't take the audio, and then we'll click away. It is unfortunate, but it is unfortunately the way of the platform. It's one of those things that we just unfortunately have to deal with. So yeah, number one piece of advice, invest in a good microphone. Blue Yetis are pretty solid for beginners, or if you want to go right to the Ars Technica, go for it. Number two, don't be discouraged. Brent just mentioned this a moment ago. Odds are, unless you already had a following on Newgrounds or you're a voice actress, odds are nobody is going to watch your first video unless, like Tiffany said, you're out there throwing it at people. And just don't be discouraged. The algorithm will not pick you up right away, probably, and it might take 10 videos, it might take 20 videos, but if you are having fun and you are happy doing it, please do not let that discourage you, because it is so easy to get discouraged, especially when it's like, I'm sure we've all had this experience where it's like a video we worked really hard on, and we're so excited about that, and we upload it and like 5 people are interested, like 2 people watch it to the end, and it can be a real shot to the morale. And if you can get through that, you're golden. And the third one is something, I can't remember who mentioned this, but someone mentioned this earlier at the panel, is if you can ask yourself, like, if you can find a niche that has not been filled, if you have this other hobby, or there's this one topic that you know a lot about, and you want to find other videos on it and nobody has, you know, that's your niche right there, and that's really good algorithmically, because now, what if Billy Bob over in Texas is also really curious about this topic too? You know, if you're the only one making those videos, you've monopolized the market. And eventually the algorithm will notice if other people are looking into it, or other times people might not know that they're interested in it. You know, maybe, you know, sometimes if you speak passionately enough about something, or if you show people how cool this topic or hobby really is, sometimes that can get people really interested. Yeah, see, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Joy is infectious, and you can't help but exude it if you're lucky enough to find that niche. You know that for some reason somebody hasn't done, but you also love it. You won't be able to help but make that obvious. Other people will feel it. It will make you more fun to listen to. So hopefully whatever that thing is that you discover is something that you're also really passionate about. And that'll help you just come across as more genuine, and you'll smile more. And I think that impacts your content very visibly.
Yeah. It definitely does. And if nothing else, you're happier doing it. And at the end of the day, like, it sounds silly, I know, and it sounds really cliche, but, you know, at the end of the day, that matters a lot, that you're having fun and that you're happy.
I had one more thing I thought of.
No, you can't.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if you have an idea of what kind of content you like to create, my advice would be to find people that you enjoy watching who make something similar. It doesn't have to be the same thing, but like, why do you enjoy watching them? And like, study. You know, like, I wanted to be an actor, so I studied acting. If you want to be a YouTuber, you should study YouTube. So like, if you want to make commentary videos and you really like Scott Kramer, maybe watch his videos and be like, oh, I like his really quick cuts. I like his, the pace of his jokes and like all this kind of stuff. And I think it would be very helpful for people if they like take the time to study and you don't just like, you jump in expecting to be amazing right away. It's like with anything else, like, you know, you're not a mathematician when you first learn 1 + 1. You gotta like study a little bit.
Well, maybe you weren't.
Well, yeah, I wasn't. But yeah, I think it's very helpful. Like for my gaming stuff, I realized that I wanted to do the pre-recorded gaming things, and I was like, you know, I really like how Game Grumps does about 30 minutes at a time, and then they'll be like, that's enough, we'll do the rest next time. And they clearly record a bunch of episodes all at once. And I was like, that's a great idea, I'm gonna do that. Don't plagiarize people, but take like their general things that you like, that they do, and kind of adopt them.
I'll say one thing that we haven't talked about is hashtags. So in all of your videos when you upload, you can also do hashtags up to 60. And you can do that on your shorts as well. Most people don't know that, but after you upload, you can go back into it and do hashtags on that. You can also, with your shorts, choose the category that it falls under. If it's entertainment, how to. Most of the time, if you don't do any of that, then it's not really going to be pushed as much. And same with shorts, you can choose the thumbnail. You just have to make sure you do it before you upload it, because right now you can't change it afterwards.
Yeah, and make sure that your thumbnail has a red circle and a red arrow pointing at it, and go like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never noticed this before.
That's the actual advice we have for you. Get really good at like posing your face. Get so good at it.
And clickbait titles.
Yes.
I'm quitting forever. Just kidding.
Don't forget to add not clickbait to every title.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's true. We jest. So we have approximately 4 minutes left. So real quick, just rapid fire, just any miscellaneous like concluding thoughts you have about how people can build their audience on YouTube. We can just, whoever has it first, just go for it.
Thumbnails actually are important.
They are,
and you want to get people's attention without falling into all of the tropes, but like people look at human faces, which is why human faces are often on thumbnails, are often on all advertising. But thumbnails actually are important, and so I use Microsoft PowerPoint. It is the correct aspect ratio, or you can set it to the correct aspect ratio, and you can keep copying the same slide and tweaking it until you find something you like. It's thumbnail, title, yeah. And the other thing is you want people to watch for a decent percentage of the video. And so if you're making good content, the two things you need to do are get people to click and get people to watch the video. And part of that is just making good content, and the other is baiting them a little bit.
Yeah.
Engage with your comments. Even if you're a small channel, if you're doing something that people love, maybe they love it a lot, that you saying thank you or hi to them might be the most awesome thing that happened in their whole day. And you've got a fan for life who's going to subscribe to you and keep coming back because you were nice to them. So the nicer you can be and the more you can engage with your followers, the better.
If you don't know what you want your channel to be, put up everything and then let the audience tell you what it wants to be.
Yeah, just do things that you think are fun, and just like, making your YouTube channel shouldn't be something that makes you like cry at the end of the day. You should
Maybe a little.
Yeah, most of the time. I feel like you should be having a good time and enjoying what you're putting out there, and you're putting it out there because you love doing whatever it is that you're doing. And like James mentioned before, joy is infectious, and it's when I see a video, even if it's something that like I have no idea anything, on my TikTok I've been watching these hoof videos keep coming up, and the guy is just like so excited about cleaning these hooves, and I'm like, I love that for you, and I'm really invested now, and I want you to get all of these cows feeling good again. And yeah, it's just have fun.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, having fun is, again, I know it sounds silly and cliche, but if you're having fun, a lot of it can just come to you. You know, you will exude joy, whether or not you realize it. It's, as long as you're having fun and doing what makes you happy. We have less than 60 seconds. Does anybody have any rapid thoughts? Less than 60
Hit that subscribe button.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Bell.
Don't forget to hit that bell.
Oh wait, do they even have a
Should
bell
everyone
anymore?
go say their YouTube channels again so everyone here can hit the subscribe button? Oh, me? Oh, God.
Everybody immediately.
I'm trying to go last. With the K Games spelled out. It's because everyone spells my name wrong. And my whole life they spell ERICA, so it's with a K Games. Get it? Okay.
Right, Goobertown Hobbies, I have a intro to mini painting class tomorrow at 1, and I think there might be a couple of seats left. Goobertown Hobbies.
Goobertown Hobbies. Just Google James Farr or youtube.com/JamesFarrOfficial.
Tiffany Gordon Cosplay. I got business cards on my chair, and I have a horn building workshop on Sunday if you're interested in doing some cosplay horns.
And mine is Red Bart is Cool. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell.